Thank you so much for joining us on this week's conversation. This is What's Your Story Africa podcast. I am Catherine Mwangi. Now, you know our pillars are health, agriculture, economy, and education. Today's conversation centers on economy. The gentleman who's our guest today helps us clarify, gives us different perspectives and mindset shifts in different areas of the economy. He also writes, he's a columnist for the Standard newspaper, that's Kenya's oldest newspaper, and every week he has an article there that, you know, when you read, it sort of, first you maybe get a bit angry, depending on a few things, and then you start to say, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't, who knows? But at least the information is there for you to access. Mr. Leonard Khafafa, public policy analyst. Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Can I refer to you as Leo?
Yeah,
I've
right
always
ahead.
called you Leo. I've
Yes.
known him for 10 years.
Leo is perfect.
Leo is perfect.
It works.
What designer wear are you wearing? Because come on. Hey. I saw that tie. I said, is this a Trump collection tie? Like, you look so good.
Yeah, these are some of those cuts from Italy that I acquired in one of my old lives.
Okay.
And that are still serving me well to date.
You see, Italian wear, it lasts. It is built to last.
It does. It is rather.
But thank you for, just making it to this podcast for us to have this conversation. And I like that, you always weigh, you show us two sides to every story.
Right.
So because it's about the economy, specifically the economy of Kenya, but you can also, make comparisons with any other part of the world. Before we even go there, who or what is the role of a public policy analyst?
Well, it's pretty simple. A public policy analyst looks at public policy. That is basically policy that the government of the day enacts. Then examines that policy to gauge areas of weaknesses or areas of strength, and to advise where there are weaknesses, and also basically to evaluate the outcomes of those policies, and to advise on whether the policy should be continued, or whether they should be discarded, or whether they should be adjusted to fit the times. That's essentially what a public policy analyst does. Yeah, you look at government policy.
Yes.
That is public policy, and then just work at evaluation and recommendation.
Okay,
Right.
So who are you recommending it to? Recommending the changes to whom?
To the government of the day, again. I work with some think tanks, but mostly alone, on my own. So when we make these suggestions, and when we have platforms that we use to make recommendations to the government, and most of the times, our recommendations are taken seriously and acted on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, to still go a bit granular, and I know your passion in the aviation industry, for aviation.
Yeah.
Give us one example that, when you mention as a policy in the aviation industry, that Kenyans will be like,
This worked.
okay, it's clicking. Now that's what a policy is, because,
Yeah.
so we are so a policy in aviation industry that most Kenyans would know, and it helps expand our understanding.
Perhaps not really overt out there, not really policy that is very evident, but policy that we have advised on and that has worked has to do with taxation in terms of the aviation industry.
Okay.
Those are push to tax, to levy, to put VAT, which is the standard rate of VAT on the aviation industry in terms of the spare parts that come in for the aviation industry, in terms of the maintenance, repairs and overhauls that are done on aircraft in the aviation industry in this country. And that would have really pushed the cost of running aircraft in this country significantly, and that, of course, that push would have been passed on to the end user, which is the customer. So we advised that VAT should be withheld, that the aviation industry should actually be VAT exempt, and the government has taken that recommendation quite seriously. This year, there's no VAT on aviation parts, that is spare parts.
Okay.
And it's good because People just think of aviation as planes flying back and forth.
Buying
they
a
look
ticket
at it,
and
buying
going.
a ticket and traveling, and they look at it as a luxury. It's not a luxury. It's actually a really big catalyst of the economy of this country. And just to give you perspective,
Yes.
in a small way, when you look at that VAT that I've talked about on spare parts,
Yeah.
if you levy it, it affects our competitiveness as a country in terms of servicing aircraft. In this country, let me speak about Kenya Airways specifically. Kenya Airways services aircraft, not only its own aircraft, but also planes from other jurisdictions,
Oh.
from as far wide as West Africa. We do a lot of repairs, maintenance, and overhauls for aircraft from Burkina Faso.
Okay.
I think that is Air Bukineb. We do quite a bit for Nigeria, that's Air Peace. We do quite a bit for Air Tanzania, Uganda, and a lot of other airlines within the region.
Really?
So yes, we do a lot of maintenance for them. I think we have about, if I'm not wrong, about 15 or 16 airlines from different jurisdictions that come and do their servicing here in Nairobi at the Kenya Airways Maintenance, Repairs and Overhauls hangar. So if we make it expensive, it affects our competitiveness. Then we cede that business to countries like Ethiopia, who are also our competitors and who also have MRO facilities. That's maintenance, repairs and overhaul facilities for aircraft. So this policy is crucial. We've advised, I'm not the only one, there are quite a number of lobbyists, industry lobbyists, who have advised the government, and the government has since rescinded the policy to put VAT on maintenance, repairs and overhauls. So that's one instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are quite a number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to some of your articles that I've had the privilege to see on our dailies. And there's one that you titled, Kenyans Should Start Relearning to Celebrate Small Wins.
Yes.
Do you feel, first, what was the genesis of this article?
I think we've been inundated by a flood of negativity.
Ooh.
Yes, there's been so much negativity. Every time you look at mainstream media, when you look at other aspects of media, it's only negative news. And that negativity gets to Kenyans. I think it creates the anger. I call the anger that is around manufactured anger. Because it's like Kenyans have been railroaded into getting angry, into thinking that we are the worst country in the world, when we are not. When there's actually so much positivity that is happening. That's why I came up with that article. I said, you know what? It's not all doom and gloom. There's quite a bit that is happening and that is positive and that needs to be celebrated. And perhaps if we began to look at the positive aspects of the country, then that manufactured anger would abate, would lessen, so to speak. Yeah, so that's what that's why I came up with that particular article.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so I'll agree with you on one or two things, which is, first, yes, there's too much noise and negativity. Because anyway, noise, it's rare when noise is positive anyway. So the noise that's there is loaded with negativity. Second, manufactured anger means what I hear you saying is anger that shouldn't even, undeserved. Like, you don't need to be angry. It's the word undeserved. Is the word I'm looking for.
It's unwarranted.
Unwarranted. Yes. Thank you. So it's you saying, why are you angry? So that's what you mean by manufactured.
Exactly, and I can give you examples. I mean,
please, yes.
Look at last year. Okay, let's look at the economy, for instance. Why are we so angry about the economy when there are a lot of positive things happening? And I'm not just talking because I want to make people feel good. There are metrics of measurement that tell us that the economy is indeed turning around. But even before I get to those metrics, look at where we've been and where we are at the moment, and where we are potentially headed. When the government, when this administration, that's the Kenya Kwanza administration, took over in 2022, things were really bad. It wasn't evident then, but things were really bad because as a country we had borrowed rather heavily. And at the point where we were borrowing, of course, we were just borrowing, and the effect wasn't being felt then because we're not paying debt. We're just borrowing at that particular moment. And a lot of that borrowing was spent on what I call vanity projects that do not have any tangible benefits to citizens, or not, or benefits that are not immediately evident to citizens. And
for example, the kind of projects?
For example, the SGR. The SGR is a project. Yes, I mean, it was meant to have been a fantastic project in terms of movement of cargo from the port city of Mombasa all the way to the hinterland. But we know from anecdotal evidence that that project was procured far more expensively than it ought to have. And we base that on comparative studies done with others in the region who have also put up SGR. Our SGR was extremely expensive, say compared to that of Tanzania, which was procured at a fraction of the price. It's longer than ours, and it is electrified. Ours is still not electrified. So that SGR, to we citizens, does not have immediate returns. It does not have tangible benefits, because SGR, as it stands right now, is a loss maker. It keeps making losses. Whatever number of trains you run on that track, day and night, in whichever combination of permutation, whatever you do, SGR isn't breaking even, cannot break even. It may not break even in our lifetime. So those are the things I'm talking about. Whatever you try, listen, if you stopped running SGR today, you'd immediately make money. You'd immediately save about 1 billion shillings a month. Because we are collecting about, and you can confirm this even from data that is publicly available. It's costing us about, we are getting about 1 billion shillings in terms of revenue, in terms of collections, thereabouts. And it's costing us about 2 billion shillings to keep running that SGR every month. So if we shut it down, immediately we make savings of about 1 billion shillings. So those are the vanity projects that I'm referring to, that we borrowed in between 2013 and 2022. We borrowed heavily, expended on these projects, and we are not seeing these returns. Now the debt due, the debt that we took, the loans that we took to finance these projects are now falling due. And things were so bad in 2022, 2023, 2024 that we were at the risk of debt default. Now, for any economist knows that when a country defaults on debt, it's a bad thing because it cuts you off as a country from the global economy. It means the global economy looks at you and realizes that you are unable to service your obligations as a country. And there are consequences which we may go into at some point. But we are at high risk of debt default all the way to 2024. But that risk has been averted by the government. The government has actually engaged quite a number of clever things, and they've managed to avert that debt default. So that's a positive, because other countries, even within the region, have defaulted on debt. I mean, you look at Ethiopia. Ethiopia defaulted on their sovereign debt last year. It has led to quite a bit of hardship, up to and including the downward spiral of their local currency. That's the birr. You look at Ghana. Ghana defaulted. You look at Malawi. You look at Zambia. You look at others further afield, like Sri Lanka, you know. So numerous countries have defaulted on debt. But we are here. We are standing. And we are going on. And we've restructured our debt, so to speak. And we look like in a few years, we'll actually get out of that debt risk, the risk of default, you know. Yeah, so those are some of the positives I'm talking about that people don't talk about, people don't see, and people don't celebrate.
What's the impact to the Mwananchi? So when you speak about, you know, we're able to, you know, get ourselves out of the debt, the loan ICU, and somehow we are, what's the term? Like we are
stabilizing, so to speak.
We are stabilizing.
Yeah.
So, but at what cost to the Mwananchi? This episode is in partnership with Novotel Nairobi Westlands.
It's the thing about public debt is that it is never taken on behalf of the president. It's taken on behalf of the sovereign, and the sovereign is Mwananchi. So Mwananchi commits, every time the country takes a debt, it's Mwananchi who is actually taking that debt. You know, the way the power structure works, according to the Constitution, sovereign power belongs to the people. We are the sovereign, so the power belongs to us. And we donate that power to elected representatives, including the president. So we give him the mandate to make decisions on our behalf. So when he takes on debt, it is not his personal debt, it is our debt because we are the sovereign. So when debt has to be repaid, unfortunately, it's not the president who is charged with repaying that debt from his personal finances. It is we, the sovereign, who have to pay that debt. And there is only one way we can mobilize resources to pay debt. It is through taxes. So that brings me to the other point that I needed to make. Last year, you know, we had all this hula baloo about the finance bill of 2024 finance bill. And it ended up going the way it did. It went south. There were riots. Many people were killed. And then this Ruto must go mantra came up. So that's why that's where I started my interview by saying some of these shouts and protestations and acclamations are unwarranted. The finance bill was not largely a creation of Rutos. It was a creation, of course, of technocrats within the treasury, you know, within the government, working, of course, in conjunction with the bilateral and multilateral lenders, basically to stabilize the economy and to do what is called fiscal consolidation. So to get us back on track, on the development track. So a lot of the aspects of the finance bill of last year were advised by all these technocrats and all these other stakeholders. So they were not Ruto's bill per se. But our constitution, of course, allows for public participation, direct public participation, where the public is asked and where the public makes recommendations and where adjustments are made, basically to fit in with the spirit of the times. So last year, I think at the beginning, yes, when the president came up and said, you know, there was really nothing that can be done. This bill has to pass. It was taken badly. It was taken to be hubris, pride, you know. It was taken. It was looked as though the president was talking down on Kenyans, but he really wasn't. He was actually working to stabilize the economy through recommendations that had been advanced by all these stakeholders that I've talked about. So it was not his fault per se. And of course, public participation came up, and I think guided by input from the courts, there were certain aspects of the finance bill that were adjusted. Some contentious issues were removed. And the bill that was left was fairly painful, of course, to Mwananchi, we the sovereign, but it was a appeal that we could have swallowed and moved on and gotten us to a better place today. But we rejected it. And that rejection has been to our detriment. We rejected that finance bill, and we still continue to make noise about our finance bills as they come up every year, without really knowing the implication of the noises that we make, without really gauging the impact that a rejected bill has on Mwananchi. It hurts Mwananchi in the medium term and in the long run.
Allow me to interject a bit. So you said that there has to be public participation.
Yes.
And then that is collated and, you know, escalated to perhaps, I don't know if it's parliament or wherever it is.
Yeah.
So for last year, was there public participation?
Yes, there was public participation, and some contentious bills were withdrawn. I remember, I think there was the eco levy. There was, I think, a proposal to levy tax on, I think, pampers, you know, or diapers. There are quite a number of contentious proposals. I don't have them offhand, but quite a number were actually withdrawn. So that by the time the members of parliament were passing that bill, it was more or less a sanitized version, an acceptable version of what was before. But the noise, I think the noise had built to a fever pitch. The crowd then goaded by all this talk of Ruto must go, just became totally unreasonable, and it ended up being what it was. Even this year, a lot of aspects of the finance bill, whatever it is, people have been calling for the rejection of it, in total, even without considering anything. A lot of it is misinformed. We've seen CS John Buddy, that's the Treasury CS, go to the ground, talk to millennials, talk to Gen Z, have debates with them on the finance bill. And when they come up, just informs you that they are totally ignorant about the provisions of that bill. I'll give an example. I think Buddy had a session with the students, I think Gen Zs, and they were telling him that they were against the finance bill because it was going to, they were going to tax bread, they were going to tax milk, they were going to tax household essentials, a whole lot of stories. Or even some to the effect that every newborn baby would be taxed before leaving hospital. But you see, those are just things that are circulated by detractors of the government. Some of those things are, detractors actually can be very innovative. They will come up with what looks like a finance bill, of course they'll come up with a real thing, then insert a lot of those falsehoods within that real thing, then pass it around, circulate it around and pass it off as the finance bill. Of course, when Kenyans look at it, they'll be up in arms against that kind of thing. So Kenyans were not circumspect enough to look at some of those contentious issues last time. But this time, I think the CS, realizing the loopholes, went and sat down with the public, went and sat down with Gen Z and others who are disaffected by the finance bill, got to know exactly what it was that was causing them disaffection. Then he actually got to address them and to tell them that these were just falsehoods. So that's the kind of the thing that has been going around that has been leading to a lot of what I've just described as manufactured anger. Yeah, anger that is out of place. But again, Catherine, look at the metrics that we talked about earlier. Look at the metrics of by which an economy is measured. And the president has spoken about this several times. But even before he did, we analysts had looked at some of those metrics from data that is available from the Kenya Bureau of Statistics. And we saw really, really good numbers in a number of areas. I'll give you an example. Inflation. At the time this administration was taking over, inflation was close to 9%, which was really high, which was really elevated. In Kenya, the Central Bank of Kenya has a target for inflation, which is 5% plus or minus 2.5%. Okay. This administration has brought inflation down to a low of, I think, 2-point-something%. That was earlier in the year, late last year and earlier in the year. Now it's at about 3.8, thereabout. Still within the central bank target of 5% plus or minus 2.5%. So inflation has been contained. It's working. You look at our currency. At some point, our currency vis-a-vis the US dollar had shot to 161 shillings. And currency has an impact even on our loan repayments. Because every unit of for every unit of change in the shilling, it adds to our loan stock by about 40 billion shillings. So when our currency moved from wherever it was to 160 to the US dollar, that was a lot of those are several billions being added to our loan stock. But we've seen now that the currency has come down. It has been managed to about 129 shillings to the US dollar and it's been stabilized at that point. That's a positive. That's not talked about by many people. Then, of course, you look at our forex reserves. By law, our reserves should be about 4 months worth of import cover. We were below that when this administration took over. Now, we are at 4.6 or 4.7 months worth of import cover. It's a positive. So there are those things that are working.
What's an import cover?
It assumes, because we import quite a bit from the outside, we are not self-sufficient in terms of the things that we need to import, and for importation you need foreign currency. You can't import using the Kenya shilling. So you must have reserves of foreign currency that meet your import needs. And those reserves, by law, you need to have at least 4 months worth, so that at any point you have enough forex to import goods worth 4 months. So we are above the threshold. We are above the threshold.
So, what is let me see if I understand my own question. Why is this information not distilled to the masses? I know we have a communications agency. I know there's all of these people, yourself, there's people who here and there, they know, they have this wealth of knowledge about, celebrating the small wins, big wins, because they're there and you have shared some of them. Why is this information, in your opinion, not distilled to the masses? And what we end up seeing or watching is either some government officials, you know how you can know something like, just leave that on, I know what I'm doing, or forget them, the noise will come down, whatever, just leave them alone. Let's just continue working. And there are scenarios where that can work, but when you're accountable to, you said that people are sovereign. So when you're accountable to 54, 55 million people, it cannot be just, brushing off and saying, just leave them alone. Or, just forget them, let's just work. It has to be those people are crying for some sort of communication. So I don't want you to mollycoddle me, but I want you to communicate and say, guys, like now what you do with your article, say, hey, this is what is happening. What, in your opinion, do you think has been the block to that sort of communication, so that whoever is manufacturing this anger and angst can lose power over the people?
Great question, Catherine. I've pondered over that question for a while, and my thesis is this, that there's been quite a lot of disinformation over the years, actually even before this administration took over. You remember in the last administration, it was said that the former president kept saying that he did not want to leave the country to a thief. And who was the thief that he kept alluding to? He would not say it by name, but he would leave you with he would paint a picture that would leave little to the imagination about who the thief was. So coming into power, when the Kenya Kwanza administration came into power, the perception was that it was an administration of thieves. Even the election itself, that aspersions were cast on that election. Yet, it is arguably the freest, fairest, and most verifiable election that we have ever had in the history of our country. Numerous international observers, even local observers, media houses, carried out the tallying process as based on the information that we were given by the IEBC at the time. I have friends from both sides of the political divide. At that time, my friends from government actually reached out to me and said that they had lost fair and square. But that's not the impression that you get that's not the communication that you get when you talk to Mwananchi of the streets. They'll always tell you that the election was stolen. How? The current president was underdog in that last election. He was actually effectively excluded from government. He was only a deputy president by name, nothing more. Yet, as an underdog, because he had the popular mandate, he had campaigned extensively and won the hearts of disaffected citizens, he won the election. But why do we still have that a thing in the air that the election was stolen? Why? Because we were deliberately railroaded into thinking as much. So that impression has persisted, that KK is a thieving government, that KK doesn't work, that KK is incompetent. So that narrative is really strong, and unfortunately it is driven also by media. I won't mention which media, but it is driven very strongly by media. And media has been believable for a very long time, to the extent that even when it begins to exaggerate, when it begins to engage in what I call post-truth populism, where you appeal to more to the emotions rather than facts, nobody really gets to realize that they are being railroaded into a certain way of thinking. So those are the two things that I think are responsible for the negative perception. So that even when the president goes out to talk about his achievements, he's not believable. He comes across as defensive, he comes across as incompetent, when he is not, when he's the polar opposite.
Nulink is a renewable energy products company with 20 years of experience in the renewable energy industry. Nulink designs and builds its own products and also works with partners to build complete solutions. Nulink covers a wide range of products including solar panels, inverters, battery packs, storage cabinets, charging piles, EV chargers, diesel generators, and UPS. Nulink focuses on the R&D and production of new energy products. By providing customers with leading safe and efficient energy storage solutions, Nulink accelerates the process of energy reform and helps more people realize economic and social value. Nulink's mission is to provide sustainable energy for the future through innovative storage solutions. For more details, please contact Chris at nulinkhk.com.
So, by the same standard, it therefore serves that the people around him or the administration, the current administration, should be able to do the same. So, if your predecessors, people, branded you as this person or personality with these traits, then you come in and yes, if we have been programmed to think of you a certain way, then there has to be a team or you or anybody who cares about you, who knows you, whose work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., there's no sleeping until you flip that branding, so that you program us differently. And I'll give you an example, if I may.
Go ahead.
The current president of the US. In 2020, he left the White House in this smoke of shame and pain, and they knew what they knew. And then he had 4 years of what they called lawfare. And then he was voted in, massively popular vote, the electoral vote, I think those are the two. And then now he's in, and he's doing all of these things. But he has a whole army. Like, you can't even say, I didn't like his shoe, because your comments will be a whole army of people detailing all his successes and telling you to stop being petty. Detailing successes to the point that I know what they're successful at, what he's succeeding in more than what you're telling me now. Like, because he has a barrage of people everywhere, whether it's Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, he has a barrage of people everywhere making noise on his behalf, showing him in a positive light.
Right.
And I feel, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that based on what you're saying and having read your article, and if you haven't read Leo's articles in the Standard, when are they published?
They're published every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, look out for Leo's articles, because then you end up having this mindset shift that makes you like, really? Oh, wow, I didn't know. But you see, that's like what? Assuming you have an audience of, say, 1 million. There's 54 million that are still in the, in that in the dark, whirlwind of manufactured, So the communication bit, because I hear you, and the good thing is I've known you many years, so I know you're not just blowing hot air.
Right.
You're solid and you have integrity. So I know you wouldn't just write here because you're a government apologist. Is that what they're called? I know that's not the case. If you know what it is you write.
Right.
But if the noise cannot be quelled now, and Kenyans continue feeling a certain type of way, to what then do we hope? To what then? Because it can't be, oh, he said this. Can you imagine he said this? Then a whole week, we're all saying what he said. And then all this, we are deaf, we don't know. So whose work is it to make you're doing your bit, I'm doing my bit, somebody else is doing their bit. Whose work is it to bring light into, these are the successes of this administration. And yes, we have this far to go. But hey, look, we've come this far. Whose work is it?
But I thank you, Catherine. You raise very interesting parallels between our president and the American president.
Yeah.
Interesting in the sense that Donald Trump suffered the same adverse publicity for the first 4 years of his presidency.
Yes.
And just like President Ruto has suffered in the last 3 years, Donald Trump thought his work would speak for him, because there are certain positives that he did. Actually, he was actually very good for Africa. So he thought his work would speak for him, but he hadn't reckoned on the power of the media, then especially mainstream media, and the media unraveled him. Now the parallel with our president is that he thinks, or rather he's been thinking, that his good work will speak for him, but hitherto he had not reckoned with the power of mainstream media. Their media houses, when you look at when you look at the front page of their newspapers from January 1st to December 31st, it's negativity. Never a single positive thing said about the president. And that's okay. I mean, we're in democratic space. It's their right, it's their prerogative. It is as they see it.
Yeah.
So what Trump did and what our president is now doing is he moved in and started owning his own media. His own media. I think he has Truth Media, and he has media that now runs his narrative.
Okay.
And at some point, when he was away from X, I think it was Truth Media and others that
Truth
were
Social.
Yeah, Truth Social,
Yes,
I think,
yes.
that had come up and had it became his platform, a platform that he could control,
Yes.
and he could send out his own narrative, which is now the same trajectory that our president is following. He realizes that he can no longer depend on mainstream media, and he's beginning to take communication in his own hands.
Okay.
We are beginning to see a lot more positivity coming, especially through social media, which has actually become, quote unquote, more powerful than mainstream media. But we are seeing a lot of pro-government writers, bloggers coming up and running with facts that are verifiable in the public domain. Then again, that's the difference again between pro-government people and the detractors of the government. They ride on emotion. Those of us who see the government in positive light ride on facts that are verifiable and that are in the public domain. So that's the difference. So I think he's taken control of his narrative. He's gotten many people on board who see things as he does, and they're running with the narrative. So I think going forward, possibly between now and the end of his first term, you will see that there'll be a change in terms of perception, even in terms of the minds of people. Even an incident like yesterday, taking Gen Z, inviting them to the State House and demystifying the State House, feeding them, talking to them, giving them his narrative. I mean, straight from his mouth, from the horse's mouth, straight to them. That's different. It's a different approach. It has never been tried. But these are different times, and it's a different audience, and you have to appeal to it, and you have to calm down and get to the platforms that they understand.
Yeah.
You saw him attempt to go on X Space, address, because Gen Z and millennials in X Spaces, you will not find them in a mainstream newspaper.
Yeah.
So he's gone there and he's talked to them on X Spaces. I mean, he's gotten the bashing of his life. He's been called all manner of names, on X Spaces. But he's had the guts to do it.
Yeah.
And he's gone there. So I think going forward, there's a change of tack. It's not longer about letting the work speak for itself. It's also about, as you called it earlier, tooting your own horn, which he's now doing. Yeah, so I think there'll be a change of narrative, and I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Okay, I know we need to move on to the next topic, but I'll say this to you: if you've been branded as a thief, and I'm doing all of these things to show you I'm a different person, those things have the power to work or not, because people still see you. The root of all of this is how you've been branded by others before you. And so it's like treating, what do they say? You're treating the symptom, but not the, what's that saying?
Like putting a band-aid on a wound. Yeah.
So,
doesn't help.
So your intentions could be noble, a lot, make sense, relevant. But for as long as, even when those people leave there and next week they read a headline, ati alifanya nini na nilikuwa huko, huyo mtu. Because why? The root of the brand hasn't been touched. And I think maybe that's what needs to, but anyway, we need to move on. You brought up 2027. And I want to go to an article you wrote about 2027. You know which one? You said
it will be the election to the election to
it's
lose.
Still it's still like If you know, I'm looking for it now. Where is it?
It must be one of the last ones.
Yeah, it was one of the last ones. Hold on, I'll get it. If he stabilizes the economy, 2027 election will be Ruto's to lose.
Yes.
I didn't understand that headline.
It means if he stabilizes the economy, the election is his. And the only way he will lose it is he gives it up willingly. But he will not lose it if he stabilizes the economy.
It's a writer's thing. Okay.
And of course with reason.
Yes.
What he has worked on, and we advised him at the beginning of the year through our columns, through our pieces. We told him that he had gotten what you call the macroeconomics right. Macroeconomics is basically what we talked about, inflation, in terms of the forex, stabilizing of the forex, stabilizing prices, like particularly for petroleum products, which affect virtually everything in this country. So he'd gotten the macroeconomics right. But the microeconomics is economics that actually cuts down to the brass tacks, gets down to Mwananchi. What is felt by Mwananchi?
For example?
And Mwananchi's cry has been, we have no money in our pockets. That has been the consistent cry. So we've told him that he needs to work on the macroeconomics, and if he works on that, then the election is his. He's assuring in 2027 for a second term. And he is now working on the microeconomics. And one of those ways, in fact, we've talked consistently. I've talked about this from 2022. One of the things that he needed to have done is to pay pending bills. Pending bills are bills that the government owes to contractors.
Please start with the standard group. It is so personal. It is personal that you start with the standard group.
So why I even lock on contractors, for instance, is because when contractors are paid, there's trickle-down effect, immediate trickle-down effect. Because contractors who've done big ticket projects for the government are owed hundreds of billions, actually. And I just give an example. I have had a contractor friend of mine who used to buy my suits when I was in the suit business. And every time he did a government project, every time he was paid, at least I would be assured of a suit purchase. I know he would go to the showroom and buy equipment, like pickup trucks for his projects and everything. And then there would be advocates who would do the agreements for him, negotiations, contracts and everything. There would be banks that he would work with, for financing for the next project. There would always be trickle-down effect. There would be petrol that he would buy from dealers, for his trucks and for equipment. There would always be trickle-down effect, right down to Mama Mboga. But the last administration stopped paying bills to contractors. And it is anecdotal evidence again, says that the government owes way over, I think, almost 1 trillion shillings to contractors. Now, 1 trillion shillings that is not circulating within the economy means there's no money in people's pockets. And we told the government, you need to pay a fraction of that amount. Even if you pay a quarter, it will make a whole difference because Mama Mboga will feel it. Suddenly there'll be some guy now who has been paid, to fix a contractor's tractors, who has money in his pocket, and who will now come and say, that Mboga that I took on Denny, I'm paying cash, and now I have float. I can pay for my goods and services in advance. It is the trickle down is down to Mama Mboga and the border guy. So the government has taken heed of that advice. and they've made provision this year. Actually, they've been very clever about it. They're doing what is called securitization.
Meaning?
There's a fund. There's a fund called the Road Levy Development Fund. So that fund is collected from every liter of petrol that we purchase every day, year in, year out. You purchase a liter of petrol, a percentage of it goes to the Road Development Levy Fund. So that is usually for road development. It's ring fence. It's not supposed to be used for any other thing. So we don't know what the last administration was doing. I think they depleted that fund or whatever it was they did. We really don't know where the money went. So the government now has taken a portion. I think first thing that it did, it increased the Road Development Levy Fund from, I think, 18 shillings to 25 shillings. Yeah, when the fuel prices were low. So Mwananchi never felt the impact. Then there's that extra 7 shillings that is being collected, it has used it as security to get a facility, to float a bond. So it has floated a bond worth a few 100 billion shillings, and that bond is what it is using now to pay pending bills that were pending from the last administration. So we are beginning to see money now flowing in people's pockets.
Are we?
It's still early days, but at least contractors have moved back to site. I'm seeing, if you go to Kenyatta Avenue right now, you will see that there's a stalled project that had been started in the last administration that is now taking root. They are building a viaduct that will connect you from the city center to Ngong Road without having to pass through the meanderings of Upper Hill and whatever. And that will funnel traffic into the city center as well, from Ngong Road or from Valley Road, without having to meander through the city center. It will ease the congestion within the city. And there are many other projects of a similar nature that were abandoned in the last administration that have been stuck from 2022 to date that are now being resurrected, so to speak. So that is a fantastic thing. But I also think that there's some things that he has done that whose effect will be seen in about a year from now, not immediate. And one of those things is the corruption fight. Because for the longest time, we've talked about corruption has been the elephant in the room. And corruption has been around actually from...
it's systemic.
It's systemic. I like that word. It's systemic. A systemic corruption is... it means it's a system that is corrupt. You can't see it, you can't fight it. And I keep giving this example. If you run an office, say, and you have a tea girl in your office, and you give her a budget, and you ask her what the budget for milk is so that she makes her tea, and she gives you a figure, and you make provision for it. You say, we'll buy our milk maybe at 150 bob a liter, because you're assuming she's buying you bio milk, the best in the market. You're assuming. Then she goes and contracts somebody who's selling raw milk at 75 bob a liter. So she comes and makes your tea, and you have the most delicious tea.
Not knowing
that 75 shillings has been pocketed somewhere. So that is systemic corruption. It is within the system. And to fighting it is not as easy as saying, stop corruption, I'll deal with corruption. No, you have to get systems to fight systems that foster corruption. And this administration has done that. I think the earliest success has been the e-citizen thing, rolling out government services, putting over 20,000 services on e-citizen. Previously, when you wanted to renew your driving license, even a simple thing as a driving license renewal, you either had to go to Nyaya House in the older days, or you had to go to a Huduma Center, you had to renew your license. There are other millions of other licenses that you had to go to a government office to pay. And sometimes government functionaries would frustrate you. Telling you, I'm closing for lunch unless you buy my lunch. So you'd give them 1,000 bob so that they would facilitate you. With e-citizen, you don't need that. There are more than 20,000 services onboarded, and you pay for those services from the comfort of your house for a modest fee of 50 shillings. The convenience is well worth it. So that's one way of stemming corruption, because you remove the handling of physical cash from government functionaries. You make it digital, where people pay from the comfort of their offices or phones or wherever they are, even overseas, without having to have a face-to-face interaction with a corrupt government official. Then there are things like EGP, that is the electronic procurement system for the government, where when the government wants to procure items now, it's done electronically. It's no longer a manual process where different government departments, even buying the same ball pen, one department would buy that ball pen for 100 shillings, another one would spend 500 shillings to buy the same ball pen, and you would never figure out where the corruption was coming from. Now, I think prices are standardized. It's in a system. You key in that EGP, and it gives you the prices that the recommended prices of the suppliers and that sort of thing. Even the procurement, when you're shortlisted people who are doing their procurement for you, the suppliers, that is, there's visibility. Everyone can see. And if there's an inflation, it is picked out in an instant and questions are raised. So that sort of, those sort of systems are the ones now that are being used to fight corruption. Then there's a third one. There's what is called zero-based budgeting. We've heard of budgeted corruption. It's been, again, the mantra of the detractors of the government. They say, oh, there's so much budgeted. Every time you run a budget, there's just budgeted corruption. And it is true, actually, that budgeted corruption has existed for years because the way we do it, we do what is called incremental budgeting. Every year, we start our budget from the last year's budget. So last year, if we bought cars, say, worth 100 billion shillings, we start from 100 billion this year, and we assume that we need more cars, or cars have become more expensive. So instead of putting a provision for 100 billion for cars, we make it 120 billion to factor in inflation and that sort of thing. But we bought cars last year, so we don't need to buy cars this year. Why are we spending 100 billion shillings on cars? So we are now working, actually starting with this budget cycle. We are working on what is called zero-based budgeting. We assume that our needs are zero at the moment. Yeah, we assume that we didn't have a budget. We are starting from zero. Then we look at the needs that are. If we bought 100 cars last year, we don't need 100 cars. Maybe we need 2 cars. So we budget for 2 cars. If we bought pens or whatever, we modeled offices for the DP or for the president last year, we assume that we don't need to remodel them, and we look at what needs to be done. Maybe build a church. Okay, I'm just kidding. But you get the drift.
Yes.
So we are doing zero-based budgeting, and it's going to get rid of systemic corruption. We are doing what is called accrual accounting. Accrual accounting also takes care of this issue of fictitious spending bills, so that there is visibility again, so that only those bills that are genuine are paid out. So those are the things I'm talking about. They are happening. EGP, that's the electronic procurement system, kicked in on the 1st of July last month. It is ongoing. Zero-based budgeting will kick in with the budget cycle that starts in August this year. It will be ongoing. Accrual accounting is already in place, and they are sorting out the fictitious bills from the genuine ones, and the government is paying the genuine pending bills. So that's my excitement. I'm saying if he does that, there'll be lots of money in people's pockets, and there's absolutely no reason now why he shouldn't lose in 2027, because he'll have taken care of the macroeconomics, and the microeconomics.
Yeah. So, so speak to the loopholes with these systems, because unless I'm mistaken, there's a scandal, there's a cry a week or last week about eCitizen. You're aware of it. What was it?
I think Kenyans also mistake audit reports for...
it was an audit report.
It was an audit report from the Auditor General.
Yes.
Yeah, audit reports are usually queries from the Auditor General. And sometimes those queries are not responded to in time because of the bureaucracy. You know, government has bureaucracy, and there are only certain people who can respond, or heads of departments and that sort of thing. And there is that lethargy in terms of response comes up when the AG has made their queries, and it becomes detrimental in the sense that sometimes the AG may publish her report without those audit queries having been responded to satisfactorily, which is the question that happened. So there were, I think, numerous audit queries to do with e-citizen. And at the time the AG was publishing her report, those queries had not been responded to. But CS Treasury went to Parliament last week, and I think there was a bit of a heated debate between those detractors who wanted the CS to agree to corruption, you know, or to misappropriation of public funds. When the CS said that he had proof to exonerate him from most of those claims, and that there was no such thing. So we wait to see. It's a developing story. We wait to see, but I would err on the side of government. I think e-citizen is a fantastic thing. It has enhanced collections by several billions of shillings. Those are billions that used to work their way into the pockets of government functionaries. But now those are billions that are being reposed with the Treasury, which is a good thing. So we wait to see how the CS answers. I mean, puts to shame all those negative queries, and it's just a function of time before we get clear pictures.
So when a report like that is released to the public, without answers, isn't that a problem?
It's up to Parliament, because it is released to Parliament. So it's up to Parliament now to invite the CS and other ministry officials to come and to respond to them, to fill in the gaps where they are. And if the gaps can't be filled, it's up to Parliament actually to recommend appropriate sanction, which could include a judicial process. Which is up to but not limited to a judicial process.
And you? Yes, of course.
Me, I'm super amazed. It's very true. I can't go. Now this is where I stand with Gen Z. We are trying to create a system that is going to fight the old system, right? We are trying to bring a new system that is more technological, and this is more like an AI system. The risk side is there. Once we start empowering AI to a certain level, it's also risk. But now it means like AI will not sort of like keep the jobs, because now we are creating a system that we need to employ other people to get the opportunity. So we are empowering one side to kill the other system. What are we thinking about this system that we are empowering now? The AI side of it. What about that?
Why don't
we are feeding a lot of information to machineries, computers, and other stuff. We are killing the whole system. What are we thinking to protect this side?
So hold on. So are you saying because we are in this, because of technological advancement, then if that is implemented, it will help curb the systemic corruption by like maybe 95%. So your question is, how are we now safeguarding this new system?
New system that is more digital.
Yes.
No one is controlling
and corruption free.
Exactly.
Okay, that's your
Do
question.
you feel like this kind of data is going to be more dangerous in the next 10 years? Because now we don't have control of that. Or what measures are we putting so that we know, as much as we are going digitally as a country, we're also securing this kind of information? For example, right now, the States and China, they are competing because of the artificial intelligence getting like bigger and better. Right now, to implement the eating, this is basically the technology, right? We are feeding it the billions and billions and billions of information of money. This is where kama pesa ilikuwa inaenda kwa gava, sasa hivi pesa inaenda kwa gava. We have like 2.6 billion transparency, and it's here. But all that information, ecosystem, a certain system. Is it like a country like Uganda can hack into a Kenyan system and then link overnight?
You see, that's the beauty of using established companies. Because rather than just take a run-of-the-mill developer, because we are bright guys. I mean, we have developers in this country who can develop all these systems, who can come up with the software and everything that, to run all these systems. But then there's a risk because they're not tried and tested. So as a government, as a responsible government, you work with the people who have the experience, who have the institutional knowledge, so to speak, to build these systems. Because they are there. It's not like it's new. They are there. There are companies that are there. So you work with them, and either you now buy into their tried and tested systems, and you get licenses for their use, which is the other. I mean, if you are tech savvy, then you know also that some of these things that people talk about in terms of, oh, why don't we own the system outright, like the electoral system? Why didn't they give us the system? Why didn't they give us the source code? So you know that these are mischievous people, or these are technologically ignorant people. Yeah, because you get an electoral system, you get a vendor, he comes with the system, and then he gives you licenses to use that system. But he cannot give you the source code because it's a system that he's created, and he's not only using it in this country, he's using it in multiple other countries and jurisdictions. If he gives you the source code, you can hack into a certain system, or you can hack into other countries when they are holding their elections. And his reputation then will be destroyed. So when we're working with these companies, like the ones who are giving us the EGP, that's electronic government procurement, these are tried and tested companies. These are people who have built these systems over the years, and they are able to tweak and adjust those systems to fit our needs at this particular moment. If our needs change, they're able to tweak them and to give us the licenses to meet the new needs that we have, but they will not give us our source code. And which is the other thing I think about e-citizen. It's running on the same principle. It's a system that has been created by developers. It runs and everything. It is secure, and they give you licenses to use that system. And you use that system, you pay licenses for use of that system, but they can't give you the source code. It's like IFMIS. You know, we have IFMIS, and you know IFMIS runs on oracles. Oracle's not a Kenyan company, it's American. They give you the licenses to use their software, and you pay for those licenses. But why don't we ever go and say, oh, why don't we own these systems that are controlling IFMIS? Why don't we own them? Why are we not bothering the Americans? We are very happy to have them run virtually every system of government, because government runs on IFMIS. But then when you have a Kenyan company that has come and that has developed its own thing, and that it's running its own thing, it's successfully, and by every metric you can see that it has been very successful. Collections are happening, and they give you licenses, and they want payment for those licenses. Why are we up in arms? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So AI is good, yes, and no doubt it will be incorporated. Again, I'll say about AI, it will be incorporated within the confines of the Constitution. It cannot be outside the Constitution. It has to be within the confines of the Constitution. That's one thing. The second thing is that, you know, the dangers of AI. The AI are not, because they are not human beings. They don't have emotions. They don't know how to feel. They don't have a sense of right or wrong. So they have to be controlled. You can't just give it a blank check and say, fine, just load it with information and let it do its own thing. Let it come up with its own thing. It does not have emotion. Don't have a sense of right or wrong. So the Constitution, I think, has elaborate laws that put appropriate controls for even the control of technology, up to and including AI. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does, because my mind is beyond Kenya, and because AI is not, maybe it's the normal AI, and right now we're in that evolution. See, we had like an agricultural revolution. Now we are going into
the AI revolution.
And each and every time AI evolves, or someone write an article about an evolution about AI and how it's going to affect a country in terms of productivity and raising the GDP of the country, it's also super, super scary. It's like, I feel like it's good, yes, you're gonna have like a lot of jobs, opportunities, everything is going to increase. But now on the flip side, it's developing. remember, AI will feed on you, will feed on Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and it keep on learning and growing and growing and growing. And once it's growing, it's becoming more dangerous.
So let me quell that for you. I'm reminded of when we had digital transformation. So moving from the traditional media. This was in 2014, I think, or 2015, early Q1, and I was working for the Standard. And we were just like, first of all, what is this digital transformation? What is this? How will it affect? It will take our jobs. You see, because it had happened in America like maybe a decade before us, or maybe 2 decades. But we couldn't touch it. We didn't understand it. And we went for seminars. We went to be educated. There were summits. And you attend, you get the little that you want. Or rather that you can. Until a month to, or is it 3 weeks to, and then we get a letter saying, oh, we'll be switched off if you don't cross or switch. So like, huh? Switched off, why? So the whole media came together, presented a case to whoever was in charge of, I think, CA or ICT, the minister. And lo and behold, we still ended up being switched off. Whether you understood it, whether you were scared or terrified, it was Kenya's time to transition. And we did, and we wobbled away. We were switched off, I think, for about 3 or 4 weeks. So where we're like, as in there was no TV, like what? But then that time gave us the opportunity to get our act in order and see, okay, what does it mean from a technology standpoint to be back on air, and how different shall we be, and how does it change our roles? How does it merge some roles? So you end up seeing that, wait, we were afraid for nothing. It gave us opportunities to do more. Yes, maybe the equipment was expensive. So I think you may find it as, yes, it is scary because I read this article. Then this other article built on this. But until we get there.
It's a bridge that can only be crossed when we get there, yes.
And that leads me to thank you, our Gen Z co-producer here, Mr. Miller. A question?
No, not a question. Just a bit.
Oh, you want to contribute? Yeah, sure, of course.
Small.
Yes.
The only thing that is constant is change.
Yes.
I'll just give you a very small example of when Uber came. Traditional taxi drivers
resisted.
The Ubers were saying
very true.
They changed a lot of things, but we embraced.
Yes.
They had to move on.
Correct.
They had to move on. So there's nothing that much that AI will do. You need to embrace. Personally, I use it.
Yes.
I used to take photos, go and edit. I don't edit. I use AI to edit. I pay for it.
Yes.
It's a lesson to my work.
Yes.
So anyone who does not know how to do photography can get the camera and do photos and just use it as I use AI. I embrace it in that. The same way we moved from Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. Don't be afraid already. Just embrace change. The best way is learn it. By the time you get there, other people get there, you're already there. So a few people are trying to learn about finance, cryptocurrency, how to change money, and all that. We learned that like a few years ago. When they hear you, you're ahead to learn what is next.
Yes. And that's what makes this podcast different. The crew contributes and asks our guest questions.
They have amazing insights.
Yes. So those who write to me and say, please, can I be on your podcast? It is not just me. I may just be here. But BTS there behind the scenes, we have Gen Zs and millennials. I don't know where my producer went to. Maybe he's eating.
But I love this.
Gen Z's outrage, well, you said Generation Z's outrage is based on unverified allegations.
Right.
And this, I think you give examples on the finance bill.
Yes.
And then there was a paragraph there where you said, clearly there are groups intent on spreading divisive narratives. So the real danger is not their claims of suppressed freedoms, but their willingness to scrutinize such claims, which is what we've been doing today. So those who challenge popular anti-government discourse are often dismissed as regime apologists.
Right.
So you basically have touched on that a bit when you said, manufactured anger that is stemming from, let's say, ignorance or lack of research. Like depth into, is this really the issue? So like one of our crew members here said, when I see something imewaka moto on social media, I do my own personal research. I see
it's important.
There's nothing, as opposed to contributing to empty conversations.
Right.
But you see, he's one of many.
Yeah.
He's like a drop in the ocean.
Correct.
So the whole ocean is stormy, it's angry. But there's one who says, I don't need to be angry, I've done my research.
Yeah.
So what should people do, and not just Gen Zs, because this has just kind of spread. It's like wild bushfire.
Yeah.
It has spread, and it's everybody who, it's like we've been injected with this thing where even if you hear something good, it's like you don't even want to hear it. You want to focus on the last terrible thing you heard.
Right.
How do we bring ourselves up to that level of that personal responsibility that he has where, before I get too emotional, let me first dig for myself. So where do you dig, and what is our responsibility as the sovereign, as the people? What responsibility do we have in ensuring that we don't burn this country based on whipped up emotions that we haven't researched on?
If you're a newspaper lover, like I am, particularly the hard copy, well, it's available in soft now. I would encourage people to read columnists, to read op-eds, opinions, because we have the headlines that can be slanted by the media house to suit their editorial policy. Then we have opinion writers in the pages, and who will usually zero in on a topic and break it down and crystallize the truth from that topic. I like opinion writers because most of the time they are subject matter specialists. You'll get experts in finance, you'll get experts in economics, you'll get business leaders, Then you'll get other thought leaders. You'll get public policy analysts. You'll get analysts in different fields, all writing their opinions, but they are reasoned opinions. So that's the difference between the headline and the op-ed. So the op-ed usually is reasoned. And somebody comes up with an opinion and says, I think this is it, but based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gives you the reason as to why he has come to that conclusion. So if we make a habit of reading widely, different publications, reading opinions, op-eds, I think it helps to help us get an informed view, rather than just run with whatever we've been railroaded into thinking. So that's one way. And I think these opinions are not limited to mainstream newspapers. They are on social media as well. For we older guys who are on Facebook, there's quite a bit of that on Facebook. I think you can get quite a bit on X as well. And other social media platforms also have opinion writers, or people who just come up and articulate their opinion, whether it's written or whether it's spoken. I know TikTok is basically a spoken platform. Podcasts like this that have discussions that are not restricted by an editorial policy. They are open discussions. So that's where we get to learn. So I think that's where we need to look to. So we should stop the habit of taking everything as gospel truth. Every headline that we read, we should stop taking it as gospel truth. I mean, you can have 3 dailies writing on the same thing, but one of them writing with slant, and the other 2 writing with at least some modicum of impartiality. So if we read all 3, then we are able to know where the truth lies.
And for people who will not buy the newspaper or even decide to let me go to the digital paper and read, who've become so accustomed to following accounts on social media as their primary source of news and information. And they seem to be the majority, because if I read this one article or one tweet, then if I go to the village hangout and tell people, hey, muliona kilelio aliandika leo pale Facebook, hey, then you chemsha people. Then the next thing you know, you've chemshaned for a whole month. Then, people go to the streets. And then now you have these other people who, you know, in the government, in the administration, who either add to the fire by also making comments. So you come to the level of the people. Instead of pouring water and saying, no, 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 it's not like that, hey, you add fire by kuongea matope.
Yes.
And you're thinking, okay, you're not helping the cause,
Yeah.
you know. So in as much as, yes, we need to enlighten ourselves, educate ourselves, but also the rhetoric. And no, yes, and we're human, and yes, you could tweet something that makes us really angry. You're like, why are you talking like this? I mean, at the very least, ignore that and just give us now, exactly as you're saying here, facts. You haven't sat and talked matope. You've told us, and these are the wins, and this, and this, and this. Now, if you come here and say, someone has not even, you've never even boarded an aeroplane. You've never even left Nairobi. What are you complaining about? Now, when you post something like that on your social media, I don't even know who said that, but I know I read something like that. When you post that, how have you helped us? You know, so now we focus on, look at now these people. Is that a way to speak to a people whom you know have been, you know, whose emotions have been whipped a certain direction, and then you're just adding on to it? Where is the emotional intelligence, the maturity to come in and say, okay, you're speaking like an idiot, but these are the facts?
You know what we also need to differentiate is the audience that some of that matope, quote unquote matope, is intended for. Because we are segmented in this country. We have, quote unquote, again, the country bumpkin, who laps at the utterance of his favorite politician. And then we have the educated urbanite and peri-urbanite, who's a lot more sophisticated and who cringes at those utterances. But truth of the matter is, the bulk of the electorate are the ones who are in mashinani. And when those politicians speak, when they speak their matope, it is to that electorate that they are speaking, to that constituency that they are addressing, and the constituency loves it. So you'll be very surprised. I mean, you look at some of these political figures, whose names I won't mention at the moment.
Yes.
But every time we talk about them, we are scornful. We just wonder where they ever came from, why they won't crawl back into the woodwork that they came from. You know, we wonder. But they are loved. These are people who are really popular on the ground, and they are serving members of parliament, and they will be re-elected again in the come 2027. Why? Because they are not addressing you. It's not you that they are addressing. It's not the elite that they are addressing. It's not the urbanite or the peri-urbanite that they are addressing. There's a constituency that they are addressing. So we need to figure out, we need to, even when we see them being given national platforms, we need to figure out who they are addressing, and we need to remove ourselves from the people that they are addressing. Then we need to work with the people who are addressing us specifically, because they know that we have a good grasp of issues, and we can relate to what they are saying. But even then, there are others who, as you've rightly said, lack emotional intelligence. There are people within the government who are brilliant minds, brilliant economists, people who are very necessary in government right now in terms of engagement with the multilateral lenders. And the president relies on them for those engagements with multilateral lenders. But anytime they open their mouths for a public comment, what comes out is hubris, is arrogance. They come out sounding arrogance. Why? Because they tell it to you as it is. There are no filters. They don't hide it. If there's corruption, they say there's corruption. If so and so is incompetent, they just call them exactly what they are. They say this is incompetence, or this person is an idiot, you know, and they have no filters whatsoever. So we also need to know them for who they are. We need to appreciate their unique strengths and their contribution to the well-being of this country. And then we need to learn how not to get angry with a lot of their utterances. It's difficult, yes, but we have to. Because of their lack of social, etiquette, or their lack of emotional intelligence, whatever they say sometimes comes out wrong. But when you step back and you really consider it, you discover that it is true.
Yes.
What they're speaking is true. Yeah. I mean, they can call somebody ugly if they really are ugly, or they can call somebody beautiful if they really are, without intending any insult or anything of that matter, or any negativity. But that's just who they are. Yeah, and we accept them as they are. Yeah.
Do they accept us as we are?
Well, they call us as we are. If we make unwise decisions at the electoral box, which we always do every time, we go and we choose based on emotions and other considerations other than the merits of a particular candidate, then they are right to call us who we are. Yeah. Because we, the sovereign, are responsible for electoral choices.
For electing them.
Yes.
Hence why we need to make better decisions.
Yes.
If you feel that, this member of parliament is not serving us.
Yes.
Yes. So it starts with us.
It starts with us. It always starts with us and it ends with us. And that's why I find it duplicitous to elect these people, to have them, when we know who they are. Some of them have are really flawed characters. And when they go and they manifest the flaws in their character, it's duplicitous now for us to purport to want to remove them from office. The best way to remove them from office is not through a coup, it's not through an uprising or through a revolt, it's through the ballot. So wait to see whether they've delivered on the promises that they have made, and if they have not delivered, exercise your right to remove them through the ballot. It's universal suffrage, not these riots and protests that lead to loss of lives. We've tried them; they've not worked. Think of something else. But the way out is the way out as envisaged by the Constitution is through the ballot. Just wait for a couple of years. If you can exercise the power of recall, if you can recall some of these MPs or elected representatives who are not delivering on their mandate, by all means do that. If you can't, sit and wait out. Protests will only get people killed, people's heads broken, without moving the needle even a single bit. I mean, if anything, protests actually set us back. Yeah, they set us back because they affect investment in the country. The country is looked at as a hostile environment. And if you look at the finance bill of 2024, it actually was counterintuitive in this sense. Gen Z kept on saying that they wanted to spare their parents the effect of taxes, because their parents were really being taxed heavily, or so they thought. But when we rejected that finance bill, the shortfall in the budget had to be borrowed, and it was borrowed from lenders. Who is going to who is going to repay that loan? It's the Gen Zs. Yeah, because the loans will come up at some point in the future. So you reject this because you want to spare your parents the sting of repayment of loan, but you take on the same sting yourself, because when you come of age and you're working, you're the one who will repay those loans, and at interest, when it could have been avoided by tightening of the belt, by taxes, yes, painful, but for a season, then would have been out of it. So those are the things I like to talk about, the consequences. Yeah.
Okay, so before we wind up, I have one last question from one of your articles. This is 4 things Kenyans expect of the president in 2025. This was, I think, early in the year.
Yes.
But we will end with that. For now, enlighten us on what's happening in the aviation industry that we need to know.
Yeah, my favorite airline, Kenya, is of course the turned a profit last year.
Yeah.
For the first time, actually, in slightly more than a decade, it made a 5.4 billion shillings profit. And I like talking about this because the people responsible for the turnaround of Kenya Airways are not foreigners; they are Kenyans.
Yes.
It is we Kenyans.
Yeah.
Given the chance who have now gone in and instituted certain disciplinary measures, to ensure that the airline has now turned around and it's working. Yeah, so for me that is very exciting because when I look at Kenya Airways, it is reflective of Kenya. Yeah, Kenya has really floundered over the years. It has struggled, but we don't need solutions from the outside. We have them within us. as a country to turn around. If Kenya Airways can turn around from loss-making over a decade or so, there's absolutely no reason why Kenya, the country, shouldn't follow the same trajectory, put the things that it is putting in place right now to do the same. Yeah, but Kenya Airways, of course, has benefited from an enabling environment. Government has helped it.
I was going to ask what brought about the turnaround.
The issue with Kenya Airways has largely been what I call the legacy debt. Legacy debt is debt that was acquired by the airline many years ago when priorities were different, when strategies were different. And the airline industry, by the way, it needs to be understood because it is susceptible to what we call demand shocks. You can do very well for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and when a demand shock hits you, it wipes away your profit of 4 or 5 years. And Kenya Airways was hit by a number of demand shocks. First of all, there was Ebola that happened in West Africa, and West Africa was a significant part of Kenya Airways, the market, Kenya's market. Then, shortly after that, there was the Westgate attack, which happened, and it affected the European destinations that Kenya Airways traveled at the time. And because there were travel advisories that were issued against Kenya Airways. And then, of course, after that, there was the Garissa terrorist attack again, which led to other advisories. There was a delay in getting its new fleet of Dreamliner planes. The delay took place over 3 years. So by the time they were coming in, I think Kenya Airways had made quite a number of losses. There was a problem with what you call the hedging instruments for fuel, because at the time they were instituting those instruments, fuel was on the uprise. But when the instruments were in place to cushion them from sudden fuel rises, I think we had an unprecedented drop in the petroleum prices, I think from highs of about $120, $30 to a barrel to lows of about 40. And we had hedged on some mid-range price somewhere. So we became uncompetitive. Then, of course, competition from Middle Eastern carriers. But I speak to Kenyans and I tell them, look, as much as, you have to be as patient with the national carrier, as you are with the country, because the environment under which the national carrier operates is a very difficult environment. African carriers actually operated at distinct advantage over European or American carriers or Middle Eastern carriers. American carriers make about $11 per passenger. That's a profit that they make per passenger. European carriers make about $8 per passenger. Middle Eastern carriers, and they're heavily subsidized, make about $5 per passenger. Last year, African carriers made 65 US cents per passenger. That is the profit that they made. So you can see it's a very uneven environment, and yet you need a national carrier. It's very important, it's very strategic. It actually has implications on national security. For instance, when COVID happened, airspace was shut, there was no passenger travel. We needed to get our goods out because we have cut flowers, we have chilled meat, we have fresh produce, that's fruits and veggies, we have seafood that transport in the bellies of our aircraft. Now our aircraft are not flying out, so we had all this produce that was stuck. And yet this is the produce that runs the country. It contributes significantly to our GDP. So what happened? We had to look around trying to beg freighters to come in to carry our produce. And everyone kept on saying, oh, we are busy, we are this and that and the other. So it got to a point where we had now to repurpose some of our dream carriers, the 787s. I think we're the first in the world to repurpose 787 to become a cargo, a freighter. So we removed the seats and everything, and we started putting our perishables there to fly them out. We could not even get medicine from outside, You remember we had a problem getting that PPEs, the personal, protective equipment. We had a problem getting pharmaceuticals. So when I talk about Kenya Airways, I talk about it as a national carrier that has national security implications. If you depend on other carriers, people keep on saying, shut Kenya Airways and let other people come. If you depend on other carriers from other jurisdictions, you compromise on your national security in the ways that I've mentioned. So we need Kenya Airways to be up and running. We need it to be successful. We need to give it support. we need to be patient with it so that it can recover and get back to where it used to be once upon a time. It's a very important story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said it has to be told over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't gainsay it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Last question for you, for now, Mr. Khafafa, is this article you wrote on 4 things Kenyans expect of the president in 2025. First, what is that? Number 1. Let me see. No new taxes, abductions of dissenters, that has to stop. You said Kenyans want to see brick and mortar development.
Yeah.
Then you said the president may be well advised to rejig his entire communication strategy.
Yes.
We already touched on that.
That's right.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, one of the first things we touched on.
Yeah.
You spoke about how the economy has revived now, you know, like at least contractors are starting to, you can see some life in that area.
Yeah.
And you gave an example with a friend of yours. I think in the CBD there's something going on.
Yeah, there's something going on. There's construction going on. They're building a viaduct, a road that should carry traffic out of the CBD all the way to Ngong Road.
Yes.
In the shortest time possible, without having to meander through Upper Hill.
Yes.
Yes.
So then the second one here is abductions of dissenters must stop, to which you say?
It should actually, and I entertain a very different view from what most people think. I think a lot of these deductions are not sanctioned by the state. I think there are 2 aspects to this. There are either rogue elements operating, people at least known to the administration or who are friendly to the administration, who think that by stifling dissent, they may be doing the president a favor. They are not. Yeah, they are not, because you've seen the police commission, the IG of police being caught like a deer in the headlights when he's asked to produce certain people in court and he can't produce them. So that is one thesis, that they are rogue elements and they are not sanctioned by the president, and these ones must be told in no uncertain terms to stop these abductions. The other thesis that I entertain is that these are detractors of the president who are staging some of these abductions. And we've seen it. We've seen that member of parliament called Koimburi, you know, allegedly been taken by Subaru boys. And then it turns out that the Subaru is actually a vehicle that is owned by a friend of his, allegedly been held in Communicado for a number of days when investigators have proven and gotten footage that he was actually in some lodging someplace somewhere else, you know. And the real issue is that he was running away from a court case that he has that has to do with the civil matter. That is what is out there in the public domain. Then we've also seen the other young activist who disappeared for a number of days. Even the IG couldn't produce him in court. But then he just turned up one day in court when the judge was actually really upbraiding the IG for not producing him. Then it turned out that he had just disappeared himself, isolated himself someplace, and he's never given a statement. So I think the detractors of the government who stage some of these things just to cast the government in negative light. And you will notice that since a certain leading opposition figure left the country, there have been no abductions. There have been no protests. It has been very calm. All these Ruto must go chants have been noticeably, conspicuously absent. So it just leads me to the inevitable conclusion that they are sponsors of a lot of these abductions. And they should be put to notice because it destabilizes the country and it sets us back. It sets back the development agenda. It just sets the country back months. We don't need that setback. Yeah. You've talked about no new taxes being added. Yes.
Yes.
I think yes. Again, and our advice was heeded actually in this finance bill. There were no new taxes. What happened is that the tax base there were attempts to broaden the tax base, to bring in more people who are eligible for tax, to pay tax into the tax bracket. So that's a positive thing, because I think anecdotal evidence again says that we have about 11 million PINs, personal identification numbers in Kenya. Each PIN presupposes that there's a taxpayer behind it. That's why you're given a PIN for visibility so that you can pay your taxes. Of the 11 million PINs that are in the country, I think only about 4 million PINs are active, in terms of payment of tax. So the ones who file their returns and who pay their taxes. And of the 4 million that are active, I think about 2 or 3 million belong to companies. So it means we only have 1 million Kenyans who pay their taxes, and these are the ones that are carrying 54 million Kenyans on their back. If we can broaden the tax base, we have about 15 million eligible Kenyans who can pay tax. If we can broaden the tax base to include another 4 or 5 or 6 million shillings, it means we will have a balanced budget. We'll never have a budget deficit. It means whatever we collect in terms of taxes will be sufficient to run this country without ever having to borrow from the outside or without ever having to raise taxes. So that's the other point that I was making. There's something else you mentioned?
Because you talked about communication, so this one was the brick and mortar development.
Yes, brick and mortar development. We, as a country, our economy is driven by government spending, and government spending particularly on big ticket infrastructural projects. That's why you had Mwangi do the Thika Super Highway. It spurred development and led to appreciation of land prices on Thika Road. It led to developments actually on Thika Road, because Thika Road before then was dead. But suddenly people now rush to buy properties and to put up estates and that sort of thing. So it led to quite a significant development in that direction. Under Uhuru Kenyatta, Uhuru attempted the 1 or 2. I think the SGR was his flagship project, but we know where that ended. So William Ruto needs to also have a big ticket infrastructure project, so that he can drive the development agenda by empowering Kenyans. We have all these engineers, we have all these artisans, we have all these skilled labor that can be put to good use and earn money. We have an unemployment issue. We can harness at least quite a bit of that youth bulge and put them to good use working at big ticket infrastructure projects. There are 2 that come to mind. One is is crucial. Is the Nakuru Eldoret Highway. Actually, Nairobi past Nakuru Highway is the Great North Road. And for those who come from Western Kenya, I mean, if you travel by road in December, it becomes a nightmare. You can actually spend 24 hours on the road for a distance that should take you 4 or 5 hours at most, easily, because you're stuck between Rironi, that's just after Limuru, all the way to Mau Summit. That's where traffic is most congested. So there's a proposal to widen that road, to dualize it, or to make it a 6-lane highway. And it's supposed to start this year. So that's one big ticket infrastructure project. It's a brick and mortar development. It's not just technology, or it's not just fixing the economy, things that you can't see. Kenyans want to see. To see things. They want tangible things. They want things they can relate to, they can see, and they can see that they're happening. The other one is the Usahii Highway from Mombasa to Nairobi. I think it's going to be a 6-lane expressway, and it is slated for commencement early next year. If that happens again, to be very visible, it will be a game changer in terms of the travel between Mombasa and Nairobi, because it's going to take you only 4 hours by car, and at a modest fee. So that's going to be a game changer. It's a brick and mortar investment that we can all relate to.
So I know you'll be back again.
Yes.
But for this particular conversation, I want you to look into that camera and give us your final words.
Kenyans, I think we're in a good place. I mean, not where we had envisaged to be, but we are coming out of a deep hole, and it's part of the global recession that has been post-COVID. We are not the only ones who have suffered from a high cost of living. We are not the only ones who suffer from youth bulge on the continent. It's a problem, yes, but we need to be patient with the solutions that the government has put in place so that we give them enough time to work. And if we don't think that they are working at our pace, we have 2027 to exercise what we call universal suffrage in electing the people that we think capture our hopes and aspirations. Let's be patient. Let's resist attempts to take to the streets, because we know that every time we take to the streets, there's always loss of life and the needle does not move. So let's be patient. Let's give the government the few years that is left in its term to actuate the promises that it has made concerning our well-being. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Leo Khafafa, thank you for coming on our podcast. First time ever. And I'm glad it was you, because I kept wondering, like, who can come and just give us, a glimpse into what exactly is happening in government? What exactly is happening in government? And so when I sent you a WhatsApp the other day, and you said yes, I said, oh my gosh, this is good. And it was coming obviously on the back of your columns that you've written for such a long time on one of the biggest dailies that we have. So you just being here and you agreeing to be coming and giving us these insights so that we play also our own small role in enlightening Kenyans and indeed Africa that, hey, fine, that could be happening, but this is also happening. That could be happening, but this is also happening. So that's celebrating the wins. I think it's important.
It is.
And in as much as, yes, we know corruption is this giant, and in as much as we know and there's evidence of corruption, with some people, some quarters or some ministries, fine, there's that. But we also know that there's the good. So it creates a balance for us. Yeah, because I'm not looking for a purist government or administration. I'm just looking for, or at least hoping for a government that has grasped an understanding of what's happening with the people, and they have solutions for that. And so you'll be our guy for that enlightenment.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward again to the next sessions.
Thank you.
Whenever you call, I'll come.
Yes, in this designer wear.
Yeah, right.
So if people want to reach you, how can they?
Yeah, I'm available on I have an email address, and it's very simple. It's l.khafafa, Khafafa @gmail.com. It's that simple. l.khafafa@gmail.com.
There you go.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Email him. Of course, we'll post this up on our YouTube platform and the short videos, all of our social media and his social media as well. And you get to contribute to this conversation. Thank you again, Leo, for coming.
Most welcome.
And thank you for tuning into this week's conversation. Let us contribute in the comments, and I always like to say factual, data-driven, and not, emotions. Like usichemke, if you're watching from other parts of Africa, just grok what kuchemka means. but let's like Dennis here behind the camera says, if he sees something is hot, he takes time and researches by himself, for himself, and it just brings him back to that zen. So that's what we aim to do here. It's What's Your Story, Africa? Like, hey, Africa, what's your story? So today it was, hey, Kenya, what's your story? And we also got to celebrate Kenya Airways.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I'll tell you maybe at the next episode why Kenya Airways is special to me. I won't say now, my nephew will kill me. But thank you for watching. Next week, we upload the next conversation. I hope you still get to come on and participate. Until then, ciao.